This is getting scarily deep, everybody. We have a Republican lawmaker here in this news article behind me. His 22-year-old daughter was attacked and violently taken out from this earth. This could be politically motivated. We are seeing local law enforcement, the FBI looking into this. We see a lot of bigger things happening around this. This was in Minnesota, so it's not a state that doesn't know controversy right now. The daughter of the Republican Minnesota candidate, Jeff Johnson, somebody broke into her place and was stabbed to death in what they say was a botched, more multifaceted attack. Now, the person was discovered. The government official completely canceled all of their candidacy operations. They basically shut down their candidacy. They say that this campaign has suffered a strategic or a tragic loss. No words can really cover what has happened here for this family. And what I'm really concerned about is that the motivations of politics may have been a driving factor in this. Now, we know that there are certain that are organized in their ability to make people act in certain ways and make people do certain things. So folks, please just keep your family close. Understand that we are in a transitional period inside of the United States of America. We have to be ready for anything. The opposition leader inside of Venezuela, the next American country, has said that a former governor and one of the closest allies of the governor has been kidnapped hours after being released from prison. Now, the armed...
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect. Note in the gospel, brother, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. Things is really turning up out here, man. I was watching Full Spectrum Survival, and he was going into how the Republican candidate and lawmaker, how his daughter was pretty much stabbed to death, which her name was Holly Marie Tobler, which the daughter of Minnesota Republican gubernatorial candidate Dr. Jeff Johnson. It says she was found stabbed to death in our St. Cloud, Minnesota apartment over the weekend of February 8th, 2026. It says police identify her husband, Dylan Michael Tobler, as the primary suspect, suggesting it was a potential murder-suicide incident as he was treated for self-inflicted injuries. All right, but I mean, of course, they're gonna blame the husband. He's always the party of interest because, for one thing, they understand how wicked these women are. But this is not based on that. But you know, these politicians, these lawmakers, they have targets on their backs now. Okay, because we're in a time now that the sown places are beginning to become unsown, and people are fed up with the current policies, with the administration, and the fact that they were lied to regarding, you know, the money, the taxes, the food, the cost of living, ICE. People are on edge now, man, and they're ready to take things to the streets, as we've been seeing over the last month and a half or so regarding these ICE protests. I was watching part of this, what is it here? This congressional hearing, and Pam Bundy testified at the House over the Epstein shit. And it looks like everybody just doing a bunch of gaslighting and deflecting. And that's Esau's one of his major, that's one of his major tools, is the art of deflection. You know, they never address the problem head on, but instead they find ways to go around it. But yet you be on the stand and you have to give an account for everything you've done. And they'll overpower you in court, man. And you know, you'll get the death chamber. But these people, they get to write these laws and then break them at the same time, and nobody holds each other accountable. This is why we tell you, you Jakes, the Epstein stuff, they're just really water under the bridge, man. And you know what I find so funny? Jake ain't really making an outcry about it, you know, because, I mean, technically it's not really Jake's fight. But when they had Diddy and R. Kelly on stand, and, you know, the whole Israelite or the whole Jake community, you know, it was like a proverbial witch hunt. Which they're not understanding that R. Kelly and Diddy's are nothing but puppets of the elites, man. Like your Epstein's, your Harvey Weinstein's, they're puppets of these individuals. But yet Jake bypassed the small hat and blamed which Diddy is I'm not justifying him. He's a demon. Okay, he's just as guilty, but the problem starts somewhere. Jake ain't just start trafficking because he just decided to do it. No, these men are controlled and led. But nonetheless, you Edomites, man, the target has been on your back. People getting ready to chase you out of the earth, man. All right, so, oops, Salakia. Where's the article that I was just looking at on it? It says she was stabbed to death. It says, it says the Minnesota candidate Jeff Johnson ended his campaign following the death of his daughter. It says her death is believed to be a result of a botched murder-suicide, according to St. Cloud Police Department, which, I mean, that could be true. But the first thing that came to my mind was because, Minnesota's falling apart anyway. And these so-called justice officials and Republicans and politicians, people are fed up with the politicians, man. All right? Yeah, the politicians, they're greedy. But it says the Minnesota Republican Party is heartbroken by the tragic loss of Dr. Jeff Johnson's daughter, who was killed in a violent crime Saturday night in St. Cloud. And the crazy part about it is you have all this shit going on in Minnesota anyway. Okay? So anyway, let's play a little bit more of this video, and we'll get the precepts, and that'll be that.
Men, they say, kidnapped the opposition leader just after release. The State Department is looking into this. We have the CIA looking into this. And what it really equates to is that the situation inside of Venezuela is tentative. China is completely losing their mind because they are working inside of our hemisphere and they do want that oil. Remember, Venezuela owes China billions and billions of dollars. They owe it through oil, precious minerals. They owe it through gold. They're not getting paid back because the United States of America now controls all of that oil. And with that control, we are starting to see some moves being made.
If your credit cards are out of control, here's some good news. There's a clear way forward. Just tap.
This was President of the United States of America posting this, President Donald J. Trump. In his own words, he says that everyone knows the country of Canada has treated the United States unfairly. I'm going to summarize this a little bit. Things are turning around for the USA, but Canada is still building a massive bridge between Ontario and Michigan. Canada owns the Canadian and the American side of this, built within it inside the USA. Barack Hussein Obama gave the waiver so that they could buy an American piece of land and not use American products, not use American steel. The Canadian government expects the United States to permit them to take advantage of America. This is Donald Trump's words.
Yeah, peep this. He says, this dude make an excellent point. He says, Walls and company won't see any real punishment for incitement of violence, and the people would never do anything about it as long as their bellies are full. And, he make an excellent point because, at this point, your First Amendment has been hijacked, and you people ain't doing shit. Because you can go to the restaurants on Saturdays and go drink your cocktails and party and watch the football game. You people ain't gonna do nothing until they turn the lights off and until they attack your money and until they attack the food. Okay, that's when these slow bellies that you call Americans, that's when they're gonna rise up. They're not gonna do nothing. You can kill 1,000 people protesting for ICE. They ain't gonna do nothing about it, man. Because these people, they're too docile. Hell, Iran, they suspect that sabotage is being happening. They suspect that Iran is being sabotaged by America. With their Delta 9 forces and so forth. They believe boots on the ground. And somehow, some way, they're trying to get a stronghold in Iran. And Russia ain't really doing shit. But we understand that it will escalate. But these people ain't gonna do shit, man. But you Edomites, you cook. Okay, you politicians, they coming. All right, so this is the book of Isaiah 13. And I'm going to start at verses 7. It says, and I'm going to jump around a little bit. It says, therefore should the hands be faint, and every man's heart should melt. And they should be afraid, and pangs and sorrow should take hold of them. And they should be in pain as a woman in travail. And they should be amazed at one another, because their faces should be as flames. Yeah, because those missiles are going to hit. But I want to go down a little bit to verses 14, going into you devils. It says, and it should be as the chase roll, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. And they shall every man turn to his own people and flee every one into his own land. Yeah. You're going to a chase roll like a deer fleeing. Because the whole world is rising up against you Edomites, man. You've been exposed. Epstein stuff is coming out. Rothschilds, Rockefellers are being named by name. Politicians are being going to be drug out their houses, and people are going to have their way with them. Okay, they showed you that in that movie, The Dark Knight Rises, when the poor basically were Bane, and the poor basically had their way with the rich. They drug them out of their homes, and they had their way with them and put them on trial. And everyone that is found should be thrust through, and everyone that is joined to them shall fall by the sword. And that children also should be dashed to pieces before their eyes, and that household should be spoiled and their wives ravished. And we know what that word ravished means. Goes in grape, man. So we're seeing a total breakdown. Well, not a total breakdown, but we're seeing a systemic breakdown of society. Soon to be a complete fall. Okay, when Esau stopped dragging his knuckles and pushed his chip and collapsed his dollar, that's when things can really hit the fan. Because as long as there's bread and circuses, you may have protesters here and there, but as a collective, these Americans ain't gonna do nothing, man. You gotta take the food from them, starve them out. That's when they gonna start to rouse up. All right.
What should the United States do about this? He says, well, we won't let them get away with it. Ontario won't even put U.S. spirits, beverages, or alcoholic products on their shelves. They have been prohibited from doing so. Now he says that Canada must have America to live. Do you know that almost 75% of all Canadian exports come into the United States of America? So we're looking at an economic warfare campaign about to go off there. Look at this video.
Hey, does anybody want to join ICE with me?
You got this stupid nigga woman here. Just this stupid, man.
And take them out from the inside? What? What'd you say?
So this is a woman who is
And the crazy part about it is, and she may be a terror, who knows, man. But the crazy part, what's her name? Miss Dolly. But the crazy part about it all is the fact that you women, man, y'all think shit is a damn joke. It's a joke, and then when they come busting in your door and then they try to investigate you, then all of a sudden now you want to scream, well, I have rights. See, this is what happens when you give stupid people a platform. They do dumb shit like this. They're already looking for Jake to rouse up and get stupid out here so they can be justified on putting us away for good. And you got Jakes that's provoking it. Same thing with, what's his dude named Birdsong? That nigga was exposed less than a week that he wasn't part of the Black Panther Party because he was trying to get Jake to rouse up. Then you got this alleged madness that the planters are going against ICE, which I don't know, man. I'm not on TikTok, so maybe videos out there, but regardless of it, you Jakes is stupid, man. Worst thing they could have done was give a stupid person a platform.
discussing purposeful assassination, possibly, and sabotage from inside federal enforcement. She's discussing a felony. It's like going to become a police officer so that you can tell the gang members and the murderers where they're going. She says, let's all join immigration enforcement and take them out from the inside. Now, she's discussing this felony openly while she has a car seat in her back seat, signifying that she is probably a young mother. And this is not a single event. This is happening all across our country. You see women saying that they should join dating sites and purposefully give communicable diseases to enforcement agents and law enforcement officers, basically any MAGA or Republican. They want to use a form.
You know that's talking about the black woman because she leads the world in the most diseases, man. I'm not saying that Edomite women don't carry diseases, but they usually carry diseases because they deal with Jake. I tell Jake, if Edomite woman dealt with 3 or more Jakes, she's basically a black woman. The smell, the attitude, you could tell a nigga been in that. The whole spirit just changes, But we're in a time now of a collapse, man, and people just finna start going batshit crazy. So this is the book of 2nd Esdras 15 and 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another. with swords in their hands. This is a common civil war. It says, for they should be sedition among men and invading one another, and they should not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of that action, shall stand in their power. So going back into the politician, they claimed that the boyfriend was interest, which of course, they would claim that, but I suspect it to be, if it wasn't some type of inside hit, it could have just been, I won't say it's civilian related, but eventually civilians will start to target these politicians, man. Like this Luigi Maggioni dude. You don't hear about him no more. He's out of the news for allegedly unaliving this guy, Brian Thompson, which was basically a crook that ripped off the people from health insurance. And he gets unalive, and they got this dude, Luigi Maggioni, on trial now, man. Allegedly, which I don't believe he did it. I believe he's just a plant. But it says, for that should be sedition among men and invading one another, and they should not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of the act shall stand in their power. Yep, because people they not going to give a shit. They go like, you know what? We don't care no more. All right, we're tired of it. We're tired of being starved out. We're tired of being played with. We're tired of losing our money. We're tired of being ripped off. Tired of not being able to afford groceries. The average bag of groceries now, $20 could get you a bag of chips, maybe some water, and maybe a carton of eggs, maybe some bread if you're lucky. But that's $20 on the mark. I remember when I was younger, $20 was giving us a half a buggy full of food: eggs, bread, milk, orange juice, snacks, cereal, veggies, fruits, veggies. $20 was able to go far, in the 90s, man. At least give you about a damn near week and a half supply of food, man. But now $20 barely get your ass a Big Mac. People are fed up. They're tired. That's why a lot of these politicians, these lawmakers, these senators, people finna start, like Congress, a lot of they get death threats all the goddamn time. Attorney generals, child support, they all get death threats all the time. They just not very transparent about it. But it will come a time that the Most High will exact his vengeance against the rulers of this world. And we're seeing it. But it says, a man should desire to go into the city and should not be able. It says, for because of their pride, the city should be troubled, the house is destroyed, and men afraid. And a man should have no pity upon his neighbor, but should destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. Yeah. Okay, we at the time. This summer, may it escalate. Scriptures say he should be chased out of the world as a dream, man. All right, because the world want this nigga out of here, bro. His own people want him out of here. But they don't understand that they're going to fall because of them. Because the scriptures say, prepare slaughter for his children, that they may not rise to possess the world or the land, or fill the face of the world with cities, or fill the Isaiah 14:21. Prepare a slaughter for him and his children, that they may not possess the land, nor fill the face, or nor fill the world with cities, roughly paraphrasing it. Because once Esau multiplies, there's nothing but wickedness, confusion, debauchery, just straight lawlessness. Everywhere these devils go, there's a problem. Death follows, okay? Job 18, and I'm going to start at verse 17. It says, his remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. He should be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. So this proves here that they can't repent. Okay, you got Jakes out there saying, well, there's going to be heathens, which they get that out of the Talmud. You go into the Sanhedrin 104, something like that. It goes into how basically those that accept can partake in the new world to come. They got that shit out of the Talmud, man. That's the shit that the small hats teach. So I'm kind of curious as to if these guys are rubbing elbows with Amalek now. Doesn't surprise me, but this right here proves that no heathen or no Edomite is going to be saved, man. Especially after their captivity period. We're not going to have Esau walking around in the kingdom, because the scriptures say that the whole house of Esau should be cut off by slaughter. It says the whole house. Not a remnant, not one, not nephew, no nothing. Okay, and we're going to get that, man. It says he should be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. And he should neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. That proves there's not going to be a remnant that's going to repent. It says, for they come after him should be astonished at his day, and as they that went before are frightened. It says, surely are such are the dwelling of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not the Most High. And we know that this is talking about the elites, Esau. Okay? One more precept and I end it. That may be in Isaiah. Yep, Isaiah 14 and 22. Bingo. Scriptures is plain, man. It's the book of Isaiah 14 and 21. That's the spirit. I just quoted it. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Yeah, because we see what they've done on this side of the world. Totally slaughtered Gad and built up basically this is a cave. We're basically in Basra all over again. Hence why you got concrete everywhere. Hence why you have skyscrapers. It's the high habitation. It says, for I will rise up against them, says Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, says the Lord. And I will make it a possession for the bitter and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, says Yahweh thy power. So there's not gonna, these devils are cooked, man. And righteously so. So with that, all praises and glory and honor is due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Lord's will, you are edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.
Form of biological warfare through dating. They want to use a form of sabotage through employment. And they want to use a form of insurrection that the United States of America will see as a threat to national security.
This 16 terabytes portable solid-state drive, which costs over $1,000 on Amazon, is now available for
at no cost.
So the Golden Dome will be on Greenland?
A piece of it, yes, and it's a very important part because it's everything comes over Greenland. If the bad guys start shooting, it comes over Greenland. So we knock it down. It's pretty infallible. It's amazing. You know, Ronald Reagan had the idea a long time ago, but we didn't have any technology at that point. The concept was great, but there was no technology. Now we have.
So that's a little bit of a public view of what's going on with Greenland, that America is basically going to do the same thing, that we are going to own positions inside of Greenland, allowing America to have complete autonomous control over that area. Listen to what Marco Rubio has to say about the dollar's decline.
Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them.
Now, what Marco Rubio just described is something that I've been warning you about for a long time here on this channel, and that is de-dollarization, and that is a downfall of America as the reserve currency of the world. Multiple countries are doing this, and it might seem like no big deal, but it is a big deal. It's actually huge. The deal is that your valuation of your currency inside the USA, we have about a 90-95% American base here on this channel. Your valuation of your dollar